Alrighty, from that clickety-clack sound, it's time for TV Oblivion, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 29, season 2. Today's date is February 5th, 2023, and welcome to the show. So I got a dandy show coming up today. So here is a lineup for episode 29. From the 1950s, I will talk about the television western 26 Men. From the 1960s, the TV sitcom Accidental Family. From the 1970s, the animated series The All-New Superfriends Hour. From the 1980s, the medical TV drama, Buck James. From the 1990s, the television sitcom All Right Already. From the 2000s, it's the Bionic Woman. That's the remake of the Bionic Woman TV show from the 1970s. And also from the 2010s, the game show Candy Crush. So this is a mixed bag, very strange mixed bag, but very interesting as well. Okay. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Dreft dishwashing soap. So this is from the 1950s. So just sit back and enjoy, and I'll be back with the show. Thank you, everyone.
Say, what a pretty park. But there's no time for loafing. We're on the way to Mrs. Smith's. Here we are. It's the back door for us. We'll find her in the kitchen. What did I tell you? She's doing her dishes. Look here, Mrs. Smith. Hold on to that towel. Let those darn dishes dry by themselves. 15 minutes later. Gosh, I suppose I should have known. Look at that streaky dishpan film. In the movies, we can take film off this way. But since you haven't Hollywood technique handy, let this smart woman show you another more practical way. She uses Dreft, remarkable new suds improvement. And here's what happens when these dishes have been rinsed and allowed to dry by themselves. See? No trace of scummy dishpan film. They're sparkling clear without polishing. Now, look at those two glasses side by side. You can see the difference yourself. Ask your dealer for Dreft. Remember, you must be completely satisfied or return the box and get double your money back.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Dreft dishwashing soap. This product is still around to this day, and I'll give you a little history of this. It was first introduced by Procter & Gamble in 1933. It was the first synthetic detergent. And let's see what else. I don't know if my mother ever bought this. I asked her about this the other day, and she says, maybe. Maybe I have. One time or another. Also the dishwasher, that was the laundry detergent, that was in 1933. The dishwashing detergent was released in 1947. And it's ideal for the laundry detergent. It was ideally washed for babies, washing baby linens. So the slogan was Dreft is for a clean you can trust. And so that was marketed to mothers of newborns, which still rings true to this day. And you can find it in Target or any grocery store, or in Amazon. They still have it, but now detergent doesn't just come in powders. It comes in liquids, very small. Boy, laundry detergent is getting expensive. It really is. Okay. All right. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned the lineup for today's show, so I'm going to get started. So the first show that I'm going to talk about today is the syndicated series 26 Men. And that was a American Western television series. and that premiered on November 1st, 1957, ended June 30th, 1959. Ran for 2 seasons, 78 episodes, and it was about the Arizona Rangers, which they're still around. They're a law enforcement group, and I've seen the show a few times, and way back when I was little, I remember. I wonder which cable channel or TV station, maybe Channel 9 showed it for a little while, but I know in the 80s they showed it on cable, and that's where I first watched a couple of shows. It was pretty good. So this was set in the Arizona territory, just like I said in the theme song. I'll play that in a moment. In the first decade of the 20th century, and they were part the Arizona. The Rangers were part of a group established by the Arizona Territorial Legislature in 1901, but they were only limited to 26 men to avoid vigilantism. I can't say the word. Okay, so based on the plots of the episode, they got it from the government archives and newspapers and all that. So the actors who were in the main cast were Tris Coffin, I think that's his name. His character's name was Captain Thomas H. Reining. Also, as Ranger Clint Travis was Kilo Henderson. That's not his real name, but I'll get to that after I played the theme song. I'll talk about him. They had a lot of guest stars in the show. Like, for example, they had Robert Blake, Edgar Buchanan, Uncle Joe from Petticoat Junction, DeForest Kelley from Star Trek, Bones McCoy, Lash LaRue, Doug McClure from The Virginian, Leonard Nimoy was in an episode, maybe a couple, Denver Pyle, may remember him, and let's see who else. And Dub Taylor, and also Glenn Strange, who played Frankenstein. He also played the bartender in Gunsmoke. And each season was 39 episodes. And they did okay. I don't know the reason why it stopped. Maybe they had a contract, but the funny thing is they filmed this on location. And in Arizona, and it was the first TV series ever filmed there, not in Hollywood, not in California. No. And it was probably outside of Phoenix. Not like what Phoenix is now. It's growing, so it's probably back then in the 50s. It was very remote, very quiet. I think a lot of people in Phoenix wish it was like that. Because too many people are moving there, and it's getting too big, congested, and probably polluted because of that. Well, I've been told that by some people. I could be wrong. Okay, and let's see. So right now I'm going to play first I mentioned this. It is on DVD. They released the best of the series, about 20 episodes. They released it about over 10 years ago. They don't have the full series. I wish they did. That would be kind of cool. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're not available. Maybe they're not. They don't exist. Who knows? We'll see about that. Sometimes you can find the show if you're lucky. You can find it you could stream it if you have a streaming service. It might be there. Okay. So right now, I'm going to play the theme song of 26 Men. When I come back, I'll talk a little bit about the actors, Tris Coffin and Kilo Henderson. Okay. I'll be right back, everyone. Thank you.
This is the story of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. High is the glory of 26 men whose courage helped to build the territory. 26 men who saddled up and then rode out to answer duty's call. 26 men who lived to ride again and fight for the rights and the liberty of all. This is the story of 26 men enforcing law within the territory. Praise be the glory of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. Ride on, ride on, ride on.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for 26 Men. It's a catchy tune. As for the actors, Tris Coffin, his real name was Tristram Shockley Coffin, born in August 13th, 1909, and he starred in a lot of westerns and B-action movies. And let's see what else. Like I said before, he started in a lot of movies, a lot of movie serials. He did that. Like, for example, King of the Rocket Man. Also, he appeared in a Dick Tracy's The G-Man. Also that. And then he moved on. Then he moved to television, and he was on the very first episode of The Lone Ranger as Captain Dan Reed of the Texas Rangers. Oh, I gotta catch that. And also, he's guest starred in a few westerns, on TV as well. Colt 45. Let's see what else. He also appeared in sitcoms, like, for example, Father Knows Best, I Love Lucy. I had to double check that because I forgot, because I'm a big I Love Lucy fan, and he played Grace Munson's husband. He appeared in 2 episodes. Also, he was in Batman, in the Riddler episode, the second one, of course. I think it's the second one that Frank Gorshin appeared. And then I guess he stopped, did that, and around the 1970s, or maybe, mid-1970s he stopped, and he passed away March 20th, 1990. And he was 80 years old. Now I'm going to talk about Kalo Henderson. His real name was Paul Lars Henderson Jr., and he was born August 8th, 1923. Well, he'll be 100 this year. And he was best known for Clint Travis and 26 Men. And he appeared like a lot of television. Not much movies. No, not really. A few he did. Mostly it was TV westerns. And his first series he appeared in Cheyenne. And he got the station name Kalo Anderson. I don't know where he got that. I don't know where he got that name. And let's see what else about him. He died in 2019. He lived a long life. Oh, God bless him. And I don't know what he did after that. So he was 96 years old. And before he became an actor, he was a foreman on a cattle ranch. So I guess he got some experience like then. Yeah. So as for 26 Men, it's one of those westerns that are, not that memorable, but it fell into oblivion. If you talk to somebody today, they won't remember. Probably people older than me would do that. But they might remember the theme song. It's possible. Okay. Next up, I will talk about the TV sitcom Accidental Family. This was a sitcom, just a one season one. This premiered on September 15th, 1967. Excuse me. Was canceled January 5th, 1968. It was a half an hour show, ran for 16 episodes, and it starred Jerry Van Dyke, another it starred in another one season sitcom. The one previous was My Mother the Car. Accidental Family is not as infamous as his previous sitcom. Not really. This one was straightforward, practically normal. Like that. So I'll give you the premise of the show. It starred Jerry Van Dyke. He was a widowed comedian. His name was Jerry Webster. He bought a farm in the San Fernando Valley, and to raise his son, Sandy, when he was not touring or working, doing stand-up in Las Vegas. So when he was on the road, he was under the care of the farm's manager, Sue Kramer, played by Lois Nettleton. We know her. She was everywhere, on TV shows and all that. And she was a divorcee, and she had a daughter. The show didn't do very well, and Jerry Van Dyke, was very disappointed. I think it was scheduling. The ratings got hit, and a lot of people didn't watch it, and so I watched. Luckily, there's an episode on YouTube. I watched it the other day. Wasn't bad. Jerry Van Dyke I like a lot. I really do. My favorite, when he was on Coach, the TV series, he was hilarious. He was wonderful. Won an Emmy, for that. But I remember he did guest spots on, like, for example, Gilligan's. No, not Gilligan's Eye. He tried out for that, but he turned it down. I think they offered him the role, but he said no. And I heard he regretted it after that. I guess he did. I know he appeared on the Andy Griffith Show. He appeared, of course, on Dick Van Dyke Show with his brother. And let's see. And then what else he appeared? He appeared on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and he reunited with Mary Tyler Moore in the 70s. He played I think he played in the like an employee at the TV station, but he did stand-up comedy. That was when he did that, it was painful to watch. Like that. As in the cast, Sandy Webster, Jerry Van Dyke's son, it was Teddy Quinn. He did. I think he did a guest appearance on Bewitched. I think it was that episode where Samantha and Tabitha went to someone's house with Samantha's mother-in-law, and he was turned into a bulldog by Tabitha. Well, he deserved it. So, but it was funny. That's a funny episode. Also, there was actress Susan Benjamin. She played Tracy Kramer. She played Sue Kramer's daughter, Lois Nelson. I can't say her name. Nettleton's son, daughter. Oh, terrible. Also in the cast was Larry D. Mann. He's best known as Yukon Cornelius in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Also, there was Ben Blue. He was a comedian from Canada. He played Ben McGrath. I remember seeing him, like that. So right now, I'm going to play the theme song for Accidental Family. It's kind of catchy. I like it. And once that's over, when I come back, when the introduction is over, I'll talk a little bit more about Lois Nettleton, the actress. Okay. So sit back and enjoy, everyone. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Accidental Family. I'm going to talk a little bit about actress Lois Nettleton. Uh, she was born August 16, 1927, in Oak Park, Illinois. Oh, she's by me. And let's see, and she attended Senn High School up north, and she did a lot of local theater. Uh, like some plays and all that, and then she moved to New York, and then she became famous. But she's not well known in a way. I mean, she's one of those actresses like you see her, but you know who she is, but you know her face. And she appeared in a lot of television shows, lots of them. Her most famous TV role was in actually it was the episode called Midnight Sun from the Twilight Zone in 1961, where the sun, was getting closer to the Earth, and then it would just then it just pulled away. Also in the cast was Betty Gard. You won't remember her from Thelma on The Honeymooners. Well, she was hilarious. I wish she got her own show. It would be great, But she insulted Ralph Cramden. She was the maid, so. To me, that chemistry was wonderful. Anyway, back to Lois. So she appeared on Naked City, Route 66, Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Hawaii Five-0, Dr. Kildare, a lot of TV Westerns, Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Virginian, Daniel Boone, and of course she appeared on Mary Tyler Moore, and she was Lou Grant's boss in one episode. She played a lot of miniseries, Washington Behind Closed Doors, and Centennial. And she was on some game shows. I remember watching it, mostly from the Pyramid, $100,000 Pyramid. She was great on that. Or is it 10,000? I think 100,000 is now. And so she was outstanding. And and she also was in Golden Girls. And she was the one that had a crush on Rose, Betty White's character. She was married to Gene Shepard. Oh, you may know him as from The Christmas Story. Yes, from that classic movie. He wrote this script on that. Unfortunately, Melinda Dillon, that played the mother in the movie, she passed away. According to a report, she died last month, but her death was announced a few days ago. And so that's a shame about that. And then, so the funny story is, Gene Shepard's had a late night radio program on WR up in New York. And she became a regular guest known as The Listener. And I guess they got married. And they were only married for about 7 years. They never had kids, so that's a shame, And then she passed away on January 18th, 2008. She was 80 years old. She was a talented lady. She really was, and that's a shame. So her first movie was A Face in the Crowd. I think that's a movie with Andy Griffith. But she played a nurse, and she was uncredited. So if you catch that movie and try to find her, that's her. So she did some films, so that's great. And, that really is. And let's see what else. Well, she's a very talented lady. Oh, I remember a Night Gallery she appeared too. That was the episode "I'll Never Leave You" or "Ever," or "There Aren't Any More McBains." I think she was in the first one. I forgot. I haven't seen the show in a while. I got to buy the Blu-ray. Okay. Next up, I have it's cartoon time. I have the all new Superfriends hour, and this debuted on September 10th, 1977, ended September 2nd, 1978. It was an hour-long show on ABC in color by Hanna-Barbera. Ran one season, 15 episodes, and it was, of course, about the Super Friends, more like the Justice League, which I'm a big comic book fan. So, they had the Super Friends earlier. It was from 1973, 50 years ago. And they had, let's see, who were the superheroes? They were Superman, Batman and Robin, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. And they also had Wendy and Marvin and the Wonder Dog. I forget his name. I'll think of it in a minute. So now they brought it back, but Wendy and Marvin the dog did not return. So they got another supporting cast, and that was the Wonder Twins. And they brought Zan and Jaina and Gleek, and he was a monkey. And they were from another planet. So they didn't put many villains from DC Comics. Just one. I remember one particular episode that stood out for me was called The Ghost. And oh no, there were two. I'm saying, well, I'll get to the second one. He was called The Ghost, and it was called Ghost, and he was Gentleman Jim Craddock. That was his real name, but he was actually the Gentleman Ghost. He was a great character in the comics. In this episode, he turned. He cast a spell, take revenge on Superman and Wonder Woman, and then he turned them into ghosts, and also the representatives of the UN. So they tried to find a way to bring them back, and they did. Oh, they did, and they used the rods of Merlin to send the Gentleman Ghost back to his grave and never return. The other DC villain that appeared was Black Manta, but he was simply Manta. He was not black. He was olive brown. I don't get it. He will appear in the second Aquaman movie. I'm looking forward to that because I've seen the first movie, Aquaman, with Jason Momoa, and I liked the movie. A lot of people were like, it was okay. I liked it because he had Ocean Master and Mira. It's a good movie. Yeah, and okay, so when I come back, I will talk a little bit about the Wonder Twins, because they have an interesting history. Okay, so sit back and enjoy the theme song for the all-new Super Friends Hour. Thank you, everyone.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Superman, Batman and Robin, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and the Wonder Twins, Zan and Jaina, with their space monkey, Gleek. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for the all-new, I forgot the name of the show. The all-new Super Friends Hours. Thank you, brain. And after when that went off the air, the next show coming up was the Challenge of the Super Friends, and that was one of my favorite uh, animated shows that featured superheroes, and they faced the Legion of Doom. Someday I'll talk about that in a future podcast episode. And classic DC villains there. Now, for the Wonder Twins, Zan and Jaina, they first appeared on that show with Gleek. Their powers were they had rings. They were wearing rings, and they touched rings and saying the phrase Wonder Twin powers activate. And Jaina can transform any animal she wished, like for example a horse or a tiger, a lion, or a monkey, and Zank would turn in, and he would become water in any state. Well, maybe in a bucket, or in a bag, or just like a tidal wave. And then they would just help out the Superfriends, or they would, whenever they're alone, they would, when they investigate something, they would do that. Gleek would just help. He's just there for comic relief. But he's just helpful, like that. And after that, they appeared. They appeared in the anime series Teen Titans Go, but they also did in the comics. They appeared that, and they were introduced in the comic book series Extreme Justice, and they were escaped slaves of an alien overlord like that. They were from another planet. I can't think of the other planet. It's called XR or something like that. And they also appeared on television. They appeared on the one episode in Smallville that based on Clark Kent, Superman, on the WB and the CW, and the title episode was called Idol. And they were portrayed by Zan was portrayed by actor David Gallagher, and Jaina was portrayed by Alison Scagliotti. I think I got her name right. And I remember the episode. They didn't show their powers. I don't recall. No, I don't recall that at all. And but it was fun watching them live version. I found the name of the planet. It was Exor. Sometimes it was spelled EXXOR or with one X. So that was that was kind of funny. By the way, the Wonder Dog was just Wonder Dog. So from the first Superfriends series, so I got that cleared up. But that one, like I said before, Challenge of the Superfriends was my favorite, but I did like the other one, the all new Superfriends Hour, because of Zan and Jaina. I look forward to seeing them. I watched it when it aired. I did. I was in high school first year, and it was fun. It was on Saturday mornings, and then I have the DVD, so thank goodness for that. Okay. Next up, we have the medical drama from the 1980s, Buck James. I remember this show very well. And this premiered on September 27, 1987, ended May 5th, 1988. Aired on ABC. It was a 1-hour show. Aired 19 episodes, usually 13 or longer. Excuse me. And it starred the dependable actor Dennis Weaver. So I love Dennis Weaver. He was great. He was a wonderful actor, best known as McCloud. So this was a one-hit show, not a one-hit show, just a one-season show. And Buck James was a middle-aged surgeon at a hospital in Texas. And He also had a passion for ranching, of course. And he was a chief surgeon at Holloman University Hospital and head of its trauma units. And he would have problems at the hospital, problems at home. And he had he had a daughter who was 2 months pregnant, who was separated from her husband. And his wife was divorced from him, and she still didn't accept it. So, well, he's the one who wanted a divorce. The title character was based on a real life physician, and his name was Red Duke. His real name was James Henry Red Duke Jr. And he was a surgeon, a trauma surgeon, and professor at the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston. And so they based that on that man. So that's interesting, like that. And when they cast the show, Dennis Weaver went to Houston and met Dr. Duke and shadowed him, and he was there during surgeries to prepare for the role. I'm glad he did that. And so that's great. And they filmed where he worked. They filmed the pilot in Texas. I'm sure they filmed in California after that. So that was broadcast on ABC on Sundays until January, and then it moved to Thursdays. At that time was the death time slot, that day. So we have the cast consists of Dennis Weaver as Buck James, Alberta Watson as Rebecca Meyer. I think that's the ex-wife. Shannon Wilcox as Jenny James. And John Maynard Pennell was Clint James. I think that's I'm not sure, his son, I believe. Also in the cast was Del Birdie as Vittorio. Also in the cast was John Cullum. He played Henry Carliner. He was in the he worked at the hospital. He's best known as tavern owner Holling Vincour on the TV series Northern Exposure. Oh, he was good. He's a good actor. I liked him a lot. He's well known for that. Right now, I'm going to play the theme song to Buck James. When I come back, I'll talk a little bit about Dennis Weaver. Okay, so sit back and enjoy, everyone. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Buck James. First, it started like a little Western, and then the synthesizers, went to full speed. It was the 80s, people. That's how it was. I want to verify the cast. So, Alberta Watson played Rebecca Meyer. She worked at the hospital. And Shannon Wilcox played Jenny James. That's played the ex-wife. And John Maynard Pennell played Clint James, his son. And then you have Elena can't pronounce her name, Stittler, as Dinah James. So she played daughter. Okay. As for Dennis Weaver, what a wonderful man he was. He was best known for McCloud, also as in Gunsmoke as Matt Dillon's trusty partner Chester Good, Proudfoot slash Proudfoot on Gunsmoke. And he's also famous for his role in the TV film Duel. I saw it, the first time I saw that was scary. That was a scary TV movie at that time. A lot of them were in the 70s. A lot of the TV movies in the 70s showcased scary movies. Like, for example, The Night Stalker, Gargoyles, The Devil's Daughter, Satan's Triangle. I'm trying to think what else. Can't think at the top of my head. And let's see what else. He was also, Dennis Weaver was in the 1958 movie Touch of Evil. He played the motel attendant. He was kind of twitchy like that. So he was born June 4th, 1924 in Joplin, Missouri, and did some work on Broadway, and then he moved over to the movies like that. And of course, he landed his role as McCloud. And it was, I think it was the NBC Sunday Mystery Movie. Rotated with Macmillan Wife, and I forgot what else. Columbo. He did that. And that was based on McCloud, loosely based on the film Coogan's Bluff that starred Clint Eastwood. Like that. I've seen McCloud a few times. It was a great show. As for Buck James, he was pretty good. Yeah, he was good in that role, but the audience didn't accept him as a doctor. so I guess the ratings took a nosedive, and then it was canceled. He made a couple TV movies. One was called Intimate Strangers, and he was a husband. I saw this movie when it aired in '77. He played in he physically abused his wife, played by Sally Struthers. Oh, that was awful. And it was one of the first movies that depict domestic violence. So that was bad. Because he's always a nice guy, and then he turned into this monster in this movie. Like that. And one role he did was a TV movie called Cocaine, One Man's Seduction. That was the big in the 80s, when cocaine was and was big back then. And they did well, but he was another monster in that movie. And he continued to act, and like I said, he seemed like a nice guy. And he died on February 24th, 2006, at the age of 81. Okay, so that's a shame. Okay, next up we got is from the 1990s, All Right Already. And that was a sitcom. It premiered September 7th, 1997. Ended May 4th, 1998. Ran for one season, 21 episodes, 30 minutes, of course. And had an interesting cast. And it starred Carol Leifer. She's a stand-up comedian. I think she's stand-up. Yeah. She probably did stand-up, yeah, but she is a comedian. And I remember her appearances on David Letterman. And also she had she appeared on VH1. I'll get to her. I'll talk about a little more about her later. So this is the premise of this show. She was a single business woman, and she opened an optometry store in Miami with her best friend, Renee. That's played by Amy Yesbeck. You remember her from Wings. And they dealt with embarrassing situations at the workplace, also with their family. Sounds like Laverne and Shirley in a way. And then the cast, we have Carol Leifer as Carol Lerner, Amy Yasbeck as Renee, last name not revealed. Stacy Galena played as Jessica Lerner. It's probably on her daughter, and she's best. I remember her as Mary Kay Sumner on Knots Landing. Remember that she was the second actress. Danielle Brisbois played it first. Also, let's see what else. Who played her parents? Let's see what else. Was Mitzi McCall as Miriam Lerner. She played her mom. She's best known as her comedy act with Charlie Brill. They appeared on Rowan Martin's Laugh-In briefly in the 1968 season. And Jerry Adler played her husband. And then you have Maury Sterling. I think it's her brother, Vaughn Lerner. I saw the show a couple of times when it aired. Carol Leifer's funny. Rating-wise, no, didn't do well. So right now I'm going to play the theme song for All Right Already. And when I come back, I'll talk a little more about Carol Leifer. Yeah, that should be fun. Okay. So sit back, everyone, and enjoy. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for All Right Already. Like I said, the show didn't last long, and it's totally forgotten by almost everyone. As for Carol Leifer, I remember watching her from VH1. That was interesting. And she did some comedy. I made a mistake. She did do stand-up. Yeah, she did do stand-up. She also wrote some TV scripts, for Larry Sanders, Saturday Night Live, and Seinfeld, which she dated Jerry Seinfeld at one time. And let's see. So she was born July 27, 1956 in East Williston, New York. And so she did that. And like I said, she did some stand-up. And she performed her stand-up company on Late Night with David Letterman. And I remember seeing her that. And she's funny. She really is. Also appeared in other TV, talk shows with Johnny Carson, with Tonight Show. Let's see what else. Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Tonight Show with Jay Leno. She did that. Most of the TV specials she did stand up was mostly in the 80s and 90s, but not very few like that. But she did writing. Most was writing like that. And let's see what else. She did. She did some acting. No, very few, not much of that. And let's see what else. So she did a few roles. She did like Rules of Engagement, the TV series. Also, Desperate Seeking Susan, with Brooke Shields, like that. And so yeah, she's still performing. Excuse me, she is. So that's good. She keeps herself busy. That's wonderful. Excuse me. Drink some water. That's better. Okay. Next up, we have the Bionic Woman. Oh boy. This one, this was a head scratcher. I don't know why they did this, but we'll see. This is another TV show that went to TV oblivion, like with the rest of them. So the Bionic Woman is based on the television series of the same name that starred Lindsay Wagner in the 1970s. So this one premiered on September 26, 2007, ended November 28, 2007, short-lived. On NBC, ran for 1 hour, 8 episodes. That's it. That's all. And it starred, and in the cast was Michelle Ryan as Jamie Summers. She was an English actress, and she put on she was talking in like an American accent. When I watched a couple of the shows, she was good in that. Okay, so she was not a tennis player like Lindsay Wagner's character. She was just a bartender, and was involved in a near fatal car accident, and then she became the Bionic Woman. Okay, and so the Bionic Woman was created by a man named Kenneth Johnson, and then it was based on the novel called Cyborg by Martin Caidin. They did that in the 70s. He adapted The $6 Million Man, something like that. I'm surprised Steve Austin didn't appear in the show. So the series revolved Jamie Summers, like I said before. She was a bartender, and she was in a fatal car crash, and she was saved to death by receiving experimental medical implants. Oh. And so while she was raising, she had a sister, and she was a younger sister, and she worked for a private organization. It was called the Burkut Group, and that was the organization that performed the surgery. So she was saved by her boyfriend. His name was Will Anthros. I'll get to the cast in a moment. The repairs he's the one responsible for that, put her together. Her modifications with bionics were bionic legs, just like there's a difference between the one in 1970s and the one in 2007. So she had bionic legs, a bionic right arm. She had the bionic right ear. I don't know if Jamie had the left ear or the right ear. I forgot. I haven't seen the show in a while. She also had a bionic eye. Jamie Summers in the 70s did not. Steve Austin did. He had a bionic eye. Also, he didn't have a bionic ear. And she did, the plots were, she was, fighting the bad guys. I watched a couple episodes on YouTube. I didn't see it when it aired. I didn't have time. At the time, I didn't watch it, but it was okay. But I don't know. I still have the love and the passion for the original series. I have it on DVD because Lindsay Wagner is wonderful. She's lovely. I met her once at a comic book convention. I shook her hand, and she was just darling, lovely lady. Still is like that. And then let's see. So right now I'm going to play the theme song of that, and then I'll talk about a little about the actress that played Jamie Summers, Michelle Ryan. Okay, so sit back and enjoy, everyone. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the introduction of Bionic Woman. Before I talk about Michelle Ryan, I forgot to mention the cast of characters in the show. We have Michelle Ryan, of course, as Jamie Summers. We have Miguel Ferrer as Jonas Bledsoe. You remember him from Twin Peaks. Also, he was Rosemary Clooney's son, also the son of Jose Ferrer. He died a few years ago. He was a nice man. Also in was Molly Price as Ruth Truwell. She was Bledsoe's second in command. She's best known as Faith Yokas from the television series Third Watch, if you remember watching that. Let's see, and as Becca Summers, that's Jamie's teenage sister. That was played by Lucy Hale. And but another actress was played by Mae Whitman, but that was in the pilot. They didn't broadcast that. Also, Chris Bowers as Will Anthros. That was Jamie's boyfriend. He's the one who performed the operation. And he was killed after that. So later on in the series. And then also Mark Shepard as the Anthony Anthros, Will Anthros' father. Okay, so, and also there was Katie Sackhoff. She was Sarah Corvus. She was the first Bionic woman, and she was her nemesis, her enemy, her foe. Also, there was Isaiah Washington as Antonio Pope. He was an advisor in the Bionics program. He's best known in Grey's Anatomy. Also, Kevin Rankin as Nathan, one of the Bionic teams, and also Jordan Bridges as the member of the CIA and eventually became Jamie's new boyfriend. Okay. I think I missed somebody. Oh, yeah. Also, Will Yun Lee as J. Kim. He was the operations leader of the Burker Group. And he became involved with Sarah Corvus, Jamie's enemy. As for Michelle Ryan, she's an English actress, and she's best known for her role as Zoe Slater on the BBC soap opera EastEnders, which is still on, I think. And she was also in Doctor Who, like that. I don't know what else she did. So I think she did a lot of films, overseas, mostly in England. She did that. So she's a pretty lady. She really was. But as for the show, what can I say? It's every time you try to remake a show, sometimes you hit lightning and it works. Sometimes, no. This was one of them. So I fell into TV oblivion. Okay. Next up, we have, I didn't really save the weird for last, but I did it by decade, is Candy Crush, the game show. Okay. So this is based on the video game that you could play on your phone, like if your Android phone, your iPhone. And this was introduced on April 12th, 2012, over 10 years ago. Wow. You know what? Some people still play this game. I haven't played it in a while, but recently I've been playing. And when I logged into Facebook, there it was, and it just, I just started where I left off. It gets harder and harder as you play. I wish I'd go back in the beginning, but I don't know. I don't think that'll happen. So it's a fun game, and it has great special effects. Beautiful, nice music, like that. And so Candy Crush, the game show, was based on that, and it premiered on July 9th, 2017, ended September 2nd, 2017, of the same year. Had 9 episodes, and it was hosted by, of course, Mario Lopez, who's a nice guy. I don't know if he played the game, probably. And this was confusing. It's not like when you play on your tablet or on your desktop or on your phone. I mean, it's the same game, but this was live, and this is like in person. So they would have challenges. Like, for example, they would have jelly time, They would have Candy Toss, Licorice Maze, Cake Bomb. If I read those up, this looks familiar. This would sound familiar to people who play the game regularly, like that. And also Candy Rush, Sugar Spin, Cherry Drop, Free Yeti. You try to free and Stuck on You. So the challenge is lasts about 2 minutes. So you have you would match these things like here. It's like, for example, Candy Cart, Sugar Swing, the Balloon, Spin Cycle, the Claw, Gumball Drop, Candy Ladder. And that's like when the thing is you're like tied and you were like floating in the air and you're trying to, swipe the candies, on a huge, enormous screen like that. Yeah, that was Candy Ladder. And Helping Hands, so you switch with the hands. You still do that. High Rise, Candy Vader, Yankity Yank, and Vine Climb. So you would climb, like that. I believe there were 3 players with 2 players each, with 2, the contestants, that is. And it was a team. Yeah, it was a team of I would say that 6 with 2 each, with 2 each. And whoever they try to compete, and whoever wins gets $100,000. And they try to get the boosters. So the boosters they could choose only once during the round. And the boosters were Candy Cloud, Double Delicious, Miracle Match, Freeze Burn, or Candy Tornado. So you have a choice. So that just like Candy Crush, like that. It's still addictive, that game, when you play. I don't know. You try to not play it anymore, but it's not easy. Right now, I'm going to play the theme song for Candy Crush, the game show. When I come back, I'll talk a little bit more about Mario Lopez. He's a very bankable guy. So I'll be right back, folks. Thank you.
With over 1 trillion levels played, Candy Crush is one of the most popular mobile games in the world.
Candy Crush.
Now it's the largest interactive television experience ever. This is Candy Crush, where teams will climb, swing, and match candies as fast as they can. Oh, that was a cascade right there. Swiping away the competition. Who wants it more? Yeah! Throughout the night, teams will compete in qualifying rounds. They are dominating this challenge. The winner of each round
Sugar Crush
earns the advantage of choosing which of the 4 king-size challenges they'd like to play.
We're doing the candy ladder!
Whoa, this is really hard.
Sacrificing his whole body! Full contact Candy Crush!
And in the end, the 2 teams with the most matches on the king-size boards will face off for $100,000.
100 G's, baby!
Let's crush! They're neck and neck. This is going to be close. Hold on for the ride of your life. Sugar Crush! Miraculous comeback. They're going home $100,000 richer.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the introduction of Candy Crush, the game show. Oh, when you hear those sounds from the game, from the actual video game, yeah, it's like you're listening, like you're just playing yourself. As for Mario Lopez, what can I say about him? He was, he's a nice guy. Did some acting. Let's see. I remember him on an episode of Golden Girls, and he played a boy named Mario. That was a classic episode. And he's best known as AC Slater on the sitcom Saved by the Bell, which ran from 1989 to 1993, and also by the college years. From 1993 to 94, in a role that lasted 5 years, like that. And let's see, they made the sequel, Saved by the Bell, on Peacock. He did appear there, and also his first TV role was on the sitcom, aka Pablo, and I believe I discussed this. I discussed this TV show, and he was that premiered in 1984. He was a little boy back then, but it was him when I watched him on YouTube. I remember watching it on television during the 80s. So he was not well known back then. No. Also, after that, he appeared on Kids Incorporated. So right now, he's hosting Access Hollywood. Excuse me. He's the host. So I see him from time to time when I turn on the TV. So that's good. Okay, so you know what? Folks, that's the end of the show. I'm exhausted. So right now, I'm going to do a quick recap of what I discussed. So here is the lineup for today's show on episode 29 of TV Oblivion. From the 1950s, I have the TV Western 26 Men, excuse me. From the 1960s, the television sitcom Accidental Family. From the 1970s, the all-new Superfriends Hour. That's the animated series. From the 1980s, the medical TV drama Buck James. From the 1990s, the TV sitcom All Right Already. From the 2000s, the drama Bionic Woman. That's a remake of the 1970s TV series. And also in the 2010s, Candy Crush, the game show. Oh, boy. What a lineup. Very strange lineup indeed, and very interesting as well. And TV Oblivion is about shows that are rarely syndicated and fell into TV Oblivion. That's how it is. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I will publish this episode later on this afternoon. It will be on my YouTube channel, TV Oblivion, also on my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. On my, like I said, my YouTube channel, you can subscribe, and you can also listen to previous episodes. Also be posted wherever podcasts are available. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, whatever is convenient for you, or whatever, excuse me, whatever is easier. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host of TV Oblivion, the podcast. And I'll see you soon. And I'll have another episode probably next weekend. That'll be episode 30. So here's the pick and pluck song. And that's the end of the show, folks. So long and take care. Bye-bye.